we are back. Thank you guys for joining us and watching. We are standing by with Gordon Van Dyke. You were the producer working on Battlefield 1943.
Yes.
And you have brought it by live and in person. This is actually a live game that one of your colleagues is playing off to the side, playing with the folks over here at the booth, as well as the folks in Romania that are working on the game.
Yeah,
is that right?
We have our testers in Romania, and so they're playing online, which kind of almost gives, it's kind of like a little perk showing, hey, we have worked on the network code, there are improvements. I've connected to the server that we have here in the West Coast from Sweden, and when I was testing out, make sure everything's working, there's a little bit of lag, I mean, because it is a long ways, but, you know, the experience is playable, and, you know, of course we're not going to make, you know, people in Europe play in servers here.
Sure.
We're going to have servers all around the world, but that's just kind of an example of how there's some of the improvements we've made if people are familiar with Bad Company 1.
Right on. Now, I'm a fan of the Battlefield. I'm a fan of all the Battlefields, honestly, as I'm sure most people are that are first-person shooter fans that have played them. Can you tell us, Battlefield 1943 is very special, though, because it is built specifically for Xbox Live Arcade, is that right?
Yeah, Xbox Live Arcade, PlayStation Network. So you're going to be able to download this game. It's going to be on your hard drive. You know, you don't have to get up and take out a disc and put another disc in if you want to get in some rounds on this. So that's been the focus all the way through, even to the downloadable capability of creating an accessible game to our end user. So when they get in the game, there's no unlocks that are specific to ranks and things like that. You'll actually just be on the same playing field as everybody else. The only reason somebody might be a little bit better than you is just they've invested a little bit more time, but I think that's kind of a fair, you know, trade-off.
Sure. Now, speaking of fair trade-offs, you guys did something that most of these people don't do here at E3. Because of where you're located, you're actually not within one of the halls, you're actually right outside the doors of the hall, and you guys invited your community to come on down and try the game out.
Yeah, absolutely. It was actually really, really successful. We had some really hardcore players that have been playing Battlefield for a long time, since 1942. And, you know, they had some questions about some of the design decisions that we had taken. And they came back and they left completely satisfied. They feel like we did a good job and we really paid attention to it and made sure that the Battlefield moment and the Battlefield feeling was there. And they just loved it. They were really pleased. And if anybody doesn't believe me, they can go to our forums and check it out and read the reviews that they've written. It's really good.
Or I guess if they're not going anywhere in the next 5 hours and they can get down here, they can come try it themselves, right?
Absolutely. They love it.
Now, Gordon, tell me, there's actually a couple very special modes in this that haven't been in anything else before. You want to tell us about?
Yeah, well, we came up with this idea. We made Coral Sea. One of our designers, Gustav Howling, he kind of like snuck it in. It's what designers do, right? They're really good at that. He's just like worked on it on his own without us knowing about it and said, hey, I have Coral Sea. And we're like, wow, that's awesome. And then we played it and it was so much fun. We wanted to figure out a really, really good way to add it to the game. We kept it a secret just so that we could surprise people with how this really good game mode. And together, and we wanted to present it in a really strong way. So we came up with the idea of a community unlock. So everybody works together when the game releases to reach 43 million kills. So the Xbox 360 has to reach that, and the PlayStation 3 has to reach it. And when they do, each one will get it unlocked for them separately, and then everybody can go in and play the map together. So even if you die, you're not the best player. Even if you die, you're contributing.
Help the cause. and for the folks that don't know, can you explain what that mode is, how that works?
So Coral Sea is an all dogfight map. So you're just going to be flying, dogfighting, and so everybody is going to have airplanes, and you're going to start from aircraft carriers on each side, and then you want to control an airspace. So we created air superiority, so there's an objective for flying instead of just, you know, team deathmatch. So you want to kind of get your team, and you want to have your squads patrolling in the air zone and taking out all the enemies that are trying to approach it, or vice versa.
I guess we should back up for a half a second too for folks that haven't played this. Obviously, it's a first-person shooter, heavy on the vehicles, because you guys got like, you want to talk about the vehicles you have in there?
Absolutely. So it is even though we're delivering on Xbox Live Arcade and PlayStation Network, it is a full first-person shooter on the Frostbite engine. It's got destruction. You can destroy buildings down to the foundation. There's terrain deformation, so you know you'll see where bombs have hit on the ground and left scars on the battlefield. Then you're going to have airplanes, so you're going to dogfights, you're going to have fighter planes, you're going to have like a Corsair, a Zero, you're going to have Sherman tanks, you're going to have the Japanese tanks, you're going to have Jeeps, you're going to have landing crafts, so you're going to storm the beaches, and it's focused on the Pacific theater of World War II. So it's going to be maps like Iwo Jima, Guadalcanal, Wake Island, and then Coral Sea, which is the dogfight map.
And you are packing all kinds of good business in there. If you don't mind me asking, what are you guys charging for that?
It's going to be $14.99 on the PlayStation Network, and it's going to be 1,200 Microsoft points on Microsoft Live Marketplace. And another really cool thing about it is that we got all that, and it's only going to be 550 megabytes.
Wow, how'd you guys manage that?
Well, we did some really smart development. So there's a lot of things that take up a lot of file size in a game, and most of that is video. So we basically have no video, and we don't have single player. It's all multiplayer, and it's 24 players online competing against each other. So we focused on that element of the game, and and that keeps our costs down as well. So it costs to have video in your game. You have to pay licensing fees and things like that. So anything that we could do to make it affordable and really a great value for our consumer, that's what we did, and to keep the file size down, because we know a lot of systems, you got 20 gigs, you got 12 gigs, you got 10 gigs, you got 60 gigs, you got 40 gigs, you got 80 gigs. So there's a lot to keep up with, so we did our best.
Now, yeah, I know. I was thinking about my hard drive at home and realized, like, wait a minute. The demos I'm getting now are like 700 megs all by themselves.
I've seen ones that are like 2 gigs.
Yeah. Sometimes they don't pack them down. They're really great. I have a ton of emails coming in from our audience. Do you mind if I ask you some of their questions?
Oh, absolutely. That's cool. I didn't even know we were going to do that.
Oh, right, a bonus for you. Turnell Tambit out of Windsor wants to know, what will the achievements be like? You mind talking about some of the achievements?
The achievements are all things that are kind of based on really positive gameplay. Things that are helping out your team and making sure you're successful. So we'll have ones about flying. So you'll get special ones for being a good pilot, ones for being a tank, engineer, playing on the different maps and winning, being the winning team. And we're also going to have in-game awards, and which are postcards, so kind of a World War II theme, and stamps. So the stamps you can earn infinitely during the round, like for getting 5 kills as an infantryman or as a rifleman. And then we have ones that are postcards that are kind of specific, that take longer to earn. So maybe you have to get 150 kills in a plane.
I guess we should also ask, what about trophies? Is that gonna?
Yeah, we're gonna have trophy support as well.
This is actually a good question. Minapamina out of Finland wants to know, when does the game come out?
Oh, Finland, close brother to the Swedes.
Oh, that's right.
So the game, we're final. We've just completed. Actually, today I got an email at 2:30 in the morning, because they're still in Swedish time and I'm here in the West Coast. But everything's gone final, so now we're just working with Sony and Microsoft to pass their certification. And once we get past that, we're getting closer to getting a final release date. Right. But we got to work closely with our partners over at Microsoft and Sony, and we're not ready to give a final date yet. We've got to make sure everything's synced up in order.
Is there some place you can look, like to some forums somewhere? You guys gonna get the word out?
Just go to the battlefield1943.com. Or you can follow us on Twitter, which is the twitter.com/official BF1943. And we update it. I'm on there. I update. The senior producer updates it. And we got a couple other guys that help us keep it up to date. So it's really an informative Twitter page. We try to keep it, to our core audience.
All right. Well, that's about as connected as he can be to find out.
Absolutely.
I think we're about out of time. Any other things that you want to mention to the folks at home? I know there's a huge fan base. I'm one of them. So anything you want to get out there before we let you go? Just
get out and download the trial. If you're skeptical, download the trial, and just give it a chance. I think that this game is hard to really put into words, or come onto a show like this and really describe the feelings that come out of this game, and the excitement that you can get from this game. And delivering it in a new package, people, there's some questions about it. So just give it a shot, and that's all I ask, and I guarantee you'll enjoy it and you'll be sold.
Gordon Van Dyke, thank you so. It's so nice to have you here. Thank you so much for bringing it. The game looks really, really good. I mean, I think it's really gonna set a new standard for what people would come to expect out of coming out of the downloadable content.
I hope so.
Excellent. All right, GameSpot's E3 2009 stage show continues. Right now, we're gonna go check in on the floor, catch up with Homer Rabar and a few other things that are happening out there. We'll be back with more live demos here now.